right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast. Becca Tremmel returns to the pod.
Yay.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming to my house this time instead of the old podcast studio.
Yeah, this is not a podcast studio.
No. Oh, thanks for the shade already. Wow, that took less than a minute to get some shade.
No, it's a great setup. We have a dog this time.
Yes, you do get to see my wiener.
Yes. Thank God.
She is a cutie, and she's sitting on the couch right now.
Yeah, that's
giving
her
me
couch.
those big old baleful eyes because she wants the stuffed PBR can. And I have to be like really careful when she has it because she wants to eat the cotton out of it.
Yeah, it looks destroyed.
Oh my
God.
gosh. Yeah, she has had her way with it. And every now and then she just wants to sit and squeak it. But right now she's going through a phase of where she only wants to eat it. But that was the first toy that she picked out herself. I didn't give her the PBR. She just walked around the store and she's like, this one. Like, just like
daughter, like father.
Like father, like daughter.
Like father, like daughter.
Father, like daughter.
Yeah, that's so cute.
No, but how are you, Becca? Welcome back.
I'm doing great. Happy to be here, drinking Bell Mead.
Bell Mead.
Just like the last time.
Yes,
we
this
drank
is exactly
this the
what we did last time. I actually was driving back from somewhere. I can't remember. I was on a long road trip, and I went back and listened to you and I's first podcast episode.
Yeah, I listened to it recently, too, and I was like, this is really funny.
Yeah.
I kept out loud saying, like, how I would respond, and then I would respond like that in the podcast, and I was like, wow.
You're like, oh, that is something that I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we were drinking Bell Mead Reserve last time, the high proof stuff, so we won't get quite as tipsy this time with this. I mean, you're like, well, maybe.
Don't doubt me. No, I'm kidding.
So, welcome back. What have you been up to lately? What's it like in the life of the little lion Becca?
Jeez. Well, I was traveling a lot in August, and I've just kind of been trying to get my act together a little bit in September. My birthday was recently, so
yeah, it was. We did a full band release show with
right.
you at the Hard Rock.
That's right. Yeah, it was amazing. I feel like my band has never sounded better. Like it was.
Your band sounded fucking great.
Yeah, it was good, right?
Sammy Potts on the drums.
I know.
She is a damn rock star.
She's a force to be reckoned with, for sure.
I think she's currently being reckoned with.
Yeah. What? Wait. No,
she's on the
incredible.
road with Shane Prophet, right?
Yeah, she is.
And Lauren Weintraub.
Yes.
Right?
I think so. I think she does a couple shows.
Okay.
Lauren.
Because I know she's on the road with Brandon Ellis.
Yeah, Brent.
Who's also
Brandon
in
does.
Shane's band, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Wonder what that's like, being a hired gun.
Well, it's funny because they didn't know each other like at all when they got hired for the band, and then Sammy was like, "Oh yeah, Brandon Ellis is in the band too. You guys know each other?" And I was like, "Oh my God, my favorite people all traveling together." And now they're like best friends, and it's so cute.
I love that.
I know.
Because Brandon also met Lauren at Nashville Tour Stop when we did that first sold out show at the Basement.
Yeah,
back in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I were talking about that the other day. I think it was boat day actually when we all went out on the pontoon, but he and I were talking about it. He's like, man, I don't think I would have gotten that gig with Lauren if I hadn't played that show with you. And I was like, oh, I'm contributing.
It's honestly crazy. Like, I think about this a lot. It's crazy how just like a single moment or just like one night can actually determine like so many things in your life. Yeah, exactly. Like I was talking, I've been talking about this lately. Like I've been here for 10 years. I moved here 10 years ago this August. And my very first day at Belmont, I met Emery. The first day that I moved to Nashville, I met Emery, and she's like, Emery Adeline. I'm sure you know her.
Yeah, she was on the podcast about 8 episodes ago.
Right, and like she's my best friend. Like we've gone on a cruise ship together. We've like lived together. We've played shows together. We're in a band together. Like it's just crazy that on my very first day moving here, I met people who are still instrumental in my life, and not just Emery. So it's crazy.
It is kind of hard to also look at it like that, because sometimes when you meet someone, you're like, oh, I just met this person.
Right.
In your brain, you're not going like, you're going to be
very
one of
important.
the most important people in my life
right.
forever now.
Yeah. No, it's so true. Or like, sometimes when I'm like, oh, I could stay home or I could go do this thing, it's like, it makes me want to go do the thing because I'm like, what if I miss out on like these years that it could alter the rest of my life?
Right. Like that's one reason why it's hard turning stuff down in Nashville, because
FOMO.
in your brain, it would be like playing the lottery. Like you play the same lottery numbers every week, and you know the one time you don't play it is going to be the week that you would hit the super mega millions Powerball, whatever. It's like the same time you don't take that one dinky writers round at wherever bar in Joesville, wherever, Nowhereville, Tennessee, will be the one time that lineup had like Scott Borchetta's there, and I'm looking to sign someone.
Or like exactly.
This why it's just like scary living here, because the opportunity does exist.
Yeah, everywhere, all the time. Like, so after I graduated Belmont, I didn't play out for a while. I was just like not really.
Did you need a break?
Yeah, and I just wasn't. I was like, oh, I'm not a like singer. I'm not an artist. I'm just a songwriter. So I just was not focused on playing rounds or shows or anything. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna get back into it. My confidence is up. And the very first round I played was at 404 Bar and Grill, which is where Tour Stop started. Tour Stop was born. I also met like so many people that I'd never really had to ask to play around again after that. Like it just like spiraled into, oh, you'll get pulled in this round. Oh, and there was no one there. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, there could be nobody there and it could still be so important in your life. Like I met Caroline DeLone at like a random Commodore grill round, and then she was coming to Tour Stop after that. And like, because I invited her to my round.
So I ought to have her on the podcast, because the first question I always ask people is how we met.
Yeah.
And in my brain right now, I'm racking it. I can't remember how
she came to Tour Stop, and I was like, I introduced you because she came to see me play because we had met at Commodore.
Was that at Belcourt?
Yeah, it was at Belcourt. And then she was there. And also, like, Caroline's the type of person who she says she's going to do something, and she does it. Right. She's like, I'm going to come to your show. Then she'll, like, go to your show. Right. Which most people are like, oh, when's the next time you're playing? Maybe I'll try to come by. And then you never see them again. And like, she's not like that. I
was talking with Emery about, I think it was Emery about that, about how like, it's so impossible. I don't want to say impossible, but like really difficult to get people to show up to stuff, because she was talking about how at any given moment, any night, there's 7 shows that you've been invited to.
Yeah.
And at least from my perspective, like a lot of the time, I don't want to do anything.
Right.
Like, sorry to all of my friends who invite me to shows. My favorite thing to do is nothing.
Yeah. Well, you also like are at shows multiple times a week.
Super overstimulating.
Right.
And you might be able to relate to it, but like when I do my shows, like whether or not it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or whatever, I have to be Aaron Schilb, Nashville Tour Stop. I have to be the guy. I have to be like mentally turned on, you know?
Yeah.
And I know that if I go to any of the places I host my show, there's a potential that someone there is going to know who I am and they're going to want to talk work. Or that if I go to a different venue, that I don't want to sound pretentious, like, oh, I'm so famous. I'm not.
I'm so important.
It's like, I'm popular in like 4 bars. I'm a solid D- celebrity. Ones. I have almost D-. It's like the way I like to describe it, I'm a D- celebrity. I've just barely not failed. Like, just barely not failed.
That's better than failing.
But like, I know that if I go to these shows, I'm gonna have to be that, like, the character of Aaron at Nashville Tour Stop, because that's the one everybody knows.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of like mental energy and stamina to be the entertainer.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, I want to go, honestly, like what I did at the local this past week. I went to the local.
I put on a disguise. I put on a trench coat. I put on my sunglasses.
It's like, have you been reading my diary?
You have a newspaper in the back corner.
I sat in the corner with my hat pulled down and did a crossword puzzle on my phone.
Yeah.
Like, I like going out and listening to music, but I don't want to be bothered. And don't get me wrong, listeners of the podcast, I'm not getting bothered that much. But like, I don't want to be bothered. I want to go sit in peace and quiet, which is more often than not why I just sit on my couch.
Yeah.
I love, like, when you leave shows, do you drive home and listen to the radio, or do you go home in silence? You immediately turn on Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, probably Taylor. Depends on what I'm feeling after the show.
Yeah, I always feel like super overstimulated after my shows, and I drive home in silence, and a lot of times I'll drive to my shows in silence.
Yeah.
Because I'm just having that internal monologue just rolling, and I don't realize, I spent 20 minutes in my car in the quiet.
Yeah.
Because there's like noise in my brain.
Right.
And it's nice to just, sit and be quiet.
Yeah,
peaceful.
Just have nothing happening to you.
Listen to the
besides
brown noise
paying attention to the road.
Yeah. What are your favorite ways to like come down from a show? If you like, for example, like last week was your birthday show. When you leave a big important show or a big busy show like that, or something where you have to be like on, how do you come down from that?
Well, I try to regulate it. So with that show, like everybody that was there is somebody I love very much. And I guess I don't feel like I have to be on with those people. But usually the way I try to deal with that just at shows, because I feel like so many times when I'm catching up with somebody, the first thing is, how are you? How's music? What's been going on with your music? Here's what's going on with my music. And it's just like, that's the first thing.
The 90-second small talk.
And I don't even really think it's like a competitive thing. I feel like, at least for me, it's like I have to prove that I'm still doing things.
Right.
And sometimes I'm not, but that doesn't mean I'm not like a musician or anything. But for me, what I've been trying to do as of late is I just ask people, well, what's going on besides music? What's going on in your life, or what's going on like at home, or how's your family? How's, and just trying to develop those connections with those people past music, because a weird existential crisis I've been having lately is, if tomorrow I broke every bone in my body and I couldn't play guitar anymore, or if I couldn't sing or something, like, who am I if I'm not a singer-songwriter? And also, do my friendships, are they contingent? Can they last music past that? Yes, right. Exactly.
That's one of the things I've been struggling with lately too, is like, I was just sitting here at home yesterday, and I literally out loud said to myself, like, what makes me happy? Because I couldn't think of something just off the top, because we're conditioned in Nashville to work, to stay relevant, constantly, to stay in the forefront of people's minds, because we want to be successful. Yeah. But like, I struggled with it for a second. I literally was like, what do I do for fun? Yeah. Like, what is just for me and not for the machine? And I really couldn't come up with anything. Like, because when I was a kid, it was playing the guitar. It was sitting and listening to Van Halen records, because it wasn't a career at that point.
There's not pressure.
The pressure of trying to make it a career now, I don't want to say has ruined the joy of it, because I still get joy out of those things. Right. But I don't get the same flavor of joy.
It's not like relaxing.
It's not relaxing. Yeah. It's the same reason why I don't like going to big production concerts. Like, I don't want to go to the Nissan Stadium or Bridgestone or anything.
Unless it's Taylor Swift, but yes, keep going.
Unless it's Taylor Swift, obviously. Because the whole time I'm sitting there, and in my brain, I'm thinking about like, okay, well, how is the stadium monetizing sponsorships? Or what's the road?
The ins and outs.
I'm thinking about the business of it. Yeah. I can't sit there and just turn that off and be like, this is a really good song. I can't sit there and do that. It's really hard for me. Yeah. And that's one reason why I don't go to many concerts, especially like just popular band concerts. I love going to watch my friends, but I think the last like quote popular person's concert I went to was Maren Morris at the Bridgestone. I got a free ticket. She's so good. It was a fun concert. Yeah. But I really sat there and struggled to enjoy it.
Yeah. It's hard to be like a participant. It's it's hard to just go there and be an audience member.
Because we don't practice being an audience member. We practice being the entertainer. Yeah. And there needs to be some way to like divide that.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been having a hard time with lately. So
For sure.
the way that I've been dividing it is literally just space, just not going to stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I go to too many shows, all of the songs start to sound the same. And all of the conversations start to feel the same. And ugh,
Yeah.
it ruins the magic of it.
Yeah. No, that's so true. That's why I'm like such a big advocate for hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
You know me, my hobbies. I'm always like taking classes or doing random things because I feel like it's really important for creative people to find creative outlets that like don't determine their success in life, you know? Like you could still be a creative artist person and then go try out some new thing like pottery or acting or something like that.
Right.
But the whole world doesn't depend on how well you do in the class, you know?
Your livelihood isn't contingent upon the success of the hobby.
Right. And you're doing it to like get better at it and like have fun, but you don't have to be amazing at it, especially at first. It's just like, and I really love doing things where I'm not in my head thinking, because I feel like with songwriting and performing, like you have to sit in your feelings and your thoughts and you're just living there. So I really like doing hobbies and creative things that like pull me out of it. Like with painting and stuff, like I'm very much focused on what I'm doing.
You're right there in that moment.
Right. And I'm not thinking because I'm so focused on like what I'm doing, I guess.
I feel like that it's kind of weird because I'm not a huge video game person.
No, but that's the same. Yeah.
I have my Switch.
Yeah. I play my Switch all the time.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not a gamer, but it is nice.
Yeah.
For the same reason why I love TV and movies.
Yeah.
Is because if I can hyper focus on something that removes me from that constant stream of like work thought, it's really nice.
Yeah.
And that's how I relax, is trying to remove myself from a situation where I might work or where I might think about work.
Right.
And something I've been doing lately is leaving my phone away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a blessing and a curse, communication, because people can reach out to me any time of the day, whenever they want. Hey, can I play a show? Yes.
Aaron, I was wondering, actually, could I play a show?
So you're like, actually, I don't care about the podcast. The real reason I'm doing this again is so you can book me more. But no, I've been leaving it away from me, and I watched the Minions movie over the weekend.
I haven't seen it.
I mean,
you know what's so good? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I watched Monsters University like recently.
I just watched that too.
It's so good. I actually cried like 7 times. Like it was very, but it's so emotional because I'm like I was relating to it so hard just with music and stuff. Of just like I'm born to do this thing, and he like literally can achieve it no matter what he does.
Right.
And it made me cry like a bitch. But I was like,
struck a chord that I was not prepared for.
I love like Pixar movies and stuff though. Like I just, but I should probably see Minions, see what the big deal is.
It's a children's movie,
right?
Which means it's not sad.
Yeah.
It's just got dumb.
But sometimes they're still so like heartwarming.
Just cream of the crop, just very simple to understand jokes. And I don't have to work to be like, yes, Oppenheimer. This is
God.
This is a complex, dialogue. But I want.
It was a good movie.
I want the Minions to go. Like that's what I want.
That's what I want to watch.
Yeah, that's what I want to watch because that's easy to understand. I don't have to think.
Yeah.
I just get to watch something dumb for an hour and a half, and then the credits roll, and I feel relaxed.
Yeah, it's like I probably watch a chick flick like every day.
Oh, I watch movies every day.
I do too. I consume a lot of TV and movies, but it's just, I don't know. I love rewatching movies. I watched Devil Wears Prada yesterday, and it still holds up. Like, this movie is still. I watched 27 Dresses the day before.
I've never seen that one.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Who's in 27 Dresses?
Katherine Heigl.
That's
yes.
Right. Okay, I knew it was.
And what is his name?
Matthew McConaughey?
No, I'm gonna look it up right now. I'll keep talking.
No, I really enjoy rom-coms too because they're so formulaic.
You would love
the beginning is gonna be the meet cute.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna fall in love, and then act 2 is gonna end.
James Marsden?
Who?
This guy.
Oh, James Marsden, yeah.
What?
James Marsden, I recognize him.
And Malene Ackerman, she's in a lot of chick flicks too.
But it's the same reason why I like watching the same TV shows over and over again. It's because they're formulaic, and I know how they're going to start.
Yeah.
They're going to middle, and they're going to finish.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I don't have to get scared about the drama. It's going to end good.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I like doing it, because it removes me from reality.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how something's going to end.
So the way that I fix that, if I'm like nervous or it like causes me a lot of stress to watch something, this actually drives Sean crazy. And Emery too. This drives her crazy. But I read the entire plot before the movie even starts.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, I literally look it up, especially a horror movie.
I do the exact same thing.
Especially a horror movie or something that just like is gonna require a lot of thought or something. I'm like, I need to know what I'm getting myself into, because I get really stressed when so I completely spoil it for myself every time. But I also really like knowing when something's going to happen and I'm the only one in the room that knows what's about to happen.
You're like, ooh, you're about to.
And then I'm just watching their reaction, even though I've never seen the scene.
Like I started doing the plot reading after I watched a horror movie with an old girlfriend of mine. Like, we were sitting there and I didn't want to be like, oh, I don't like scary movies.
Right.
I didn't want to tell her. I was like, I got to be big and
you got to read the whole
And I was sitting there and I didn't realize we were holding hands. I was like gripping her hand.
What movie was it?
A Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ew, I've never seen it. I can't do gore. I can't do gore.
I was sitting there gripping her hand so hard. She looked over me and she straight up just goes, bro, are you okay? And and that's when I like snapped back into reality. And I was like, oh, I don't like this.
Reality.
It's like, I really don't like this. She's like, my hand hurts. I can tell. So that was when I started having to go through these movies and be like, all right, and the scary part's going to happen now. So
there's actually a website that will tell you the exact minute to second when jump scares happen.
Oh.
In every horror movie.
I don't know if that would even help me. I'd be like, oh, it's 9 seconds away. 8 seconds away. 7 seconds away.
But I feel like there's so many jump scares that are so stupid, like for no reason in horror movies, especially like in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Before anything actually happens, they like open and like a cat jumps or something and you're like, oh shit. Because you're just so on edge. And I'm like, I hate it.
So are rom-coms your actual favorite movies?
Yes.
But I felt like there was
depends.
a but.
My favorite movie is Dead Poet Society.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh my God. It's so good. It's sad, but it's really good. And it's also really funny and happy.
Have you ever seen Meet Joe Black?
No.
It's got Brad Pitt and Anthony Hopkins in it.
Oh.
It's such a good movie. It's super long. It's like 3 hours long.
I don't like Brad Pitt. So.
You don't like Brad Pitt?
No.
Who are you?
I just don't like him.
I can't even tell if you're joking.
No, I'm not.
Wow. Hot take. You heard it here first, folks. Becca Tremmel doesn't like Brad Pitt.
And you can print that. Feel free to quote me.
But on this movie, Brad Pitt it's a romantic comedy, for the lack of a better term, kind of a drama. But Brad Pitt comes into the picture. He and the girl fall in love, and then his character is immediately hit by a car and is killed.
Oh my God.
So maybe you would like it because you hate him and he dies immediately.
Oh, okay. That's fine then.
But his character, or at least the actor of Brad Pitt, comes back and
I don't like that.
But he is the embodiment of the Grim Reaper.
Ew.
He comes back as Death. And it's such a cool movie because everyone just thinks that he's this girl's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Except for the dad, Anthony Hopkins, who knows that he is Death and knows that he's getting ready to die because he's met Death. And they have to go through the entire movie of like her falling in love, and so the main girl like falls in love with Death. Like it's an interesting concept for a movie.
That's cool, I guess.
It's a good movie though, so if you're willing to give Brad Pitt a chance.
I'm not. I'm really not.
So where did this hatred of Brad Pitt come from?
A lot of reasons. Also,
we've got a lot of time.
He's also just not. He's not nice to his kids and stuff. He's not allowed to see his kids. Did you see?
Angelina
He got
Jolie
canceled.
babies?
He got canceled.
I mean, I don't know anything about the man.
Well, you gotta look it up.
The myth.
The legend.
The legend of Brad Pitt.
I honestly can't name a Brad Pitt movie that I like. So that's also
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
No. You mean the movie where he cheated on Jennifer Aniston?
And then they try to kill each other?
Yeah. No, thank you.
I don't think I can even name that many other Brad Pitt movies.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in Inglourious Basterds.
That's the one I was going to say. I've seen it once. It was fine.
I like that movie.
It's fine.
So what movies do you like?
I like, okay.
Give us a glimpse into who Becca Tremmel,
who I am.
The woman
Well, like
is.
I said, Dead Poet Society is my favorite. And then I would say A Promising Young Woman is tied with The Little Mermaid.
How did you feel about the live?
I love it.
I haven't watched it.
I love it. It's on Disney Plus now.
You can stream
Disney
it.
Plus. It's so good.
I don't know how the world would feel about a grown man just sitting and watching The Little Mermaid, though.
Yeah, but it's good.
Okay. Period.
No, it's so good. I watch The Little Mermaid every year on my birthday.
You really?
I do. And but the live action came out on September 6th, the day before my birthday, so I was still able to do it, but I did it with the live action this year.
So you have other
and I
birthday
saw it in
traditions?
theaters. I saw it in theaters in June.
What are your other birthday traditions? Because I know you're a girl who loves her birthday.
I do love my birthday.
Are you the birthday week celebrator?
Yeah, I used to be. I've calmed down. I calmed down a bit this year. My friends will tell you that though. Like Sammy, everybody gets so stressed around my birthday, my close friends and stuff, because I'm like, have you ever seen that episode of New Girl where Jess is like a psycho about her birthday?
Oh, yeah.
And like it cuts to Cece giving her like a sweater. And Jess goes, made in China? You're taking me to China? Because she just like expects the world. And that's how I've always been. I don't know why. And I don't I don't feel like let down ever by anybody in my life because of my birthday. Like, you know, as long as I get to see people that I love, and, you know, we had a great time at the show, and, you know, but I do get crazy about it, and everybody in my life kind of starts freaking out. And then I'm like, well, this isn't fun if everybody's really stressed.
Are you familiar with the love languages thing?
Yeah.
Do you know what your like order of them is?
I think mine is words of affirmation.
Okay.
And then quality time.
Okay.
But I don't know after that.
Words of affirmation and quality time are mine as well. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't like know that those were things until I was like in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
And it had never occurred to me why I don't like receiving presents on my birthday and on Christmas. Mm-hmm. It's like, it makes me feel uncomfortable, and it feels performative because like somebody who loves giving gifts, they want to see that reaction of you like, oh, I love it.
Yeah, like when I give you your pet portrait today, even though it wasn't a gift, but I was still really excited to see your reaction.
I hate having to like fake excitement.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, socks with Michael Scott's face on it. Cool. I hate that. So I've had to tell my family, like, I don't need you to get me gifts. I'm totally fine just spending holidays or my birthday with you. Just that is 100% what I want to do. But my family, I hate even using the term unfortunately, but like my family unfortunately love giving gifts. Like that's what they want. They want to give me stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember it was for my 21st birthday. My dad asked what I wanted for my birthday, and I like knee-jerk responded, lasagna. And he's like, no, I mean like a present, like a gift, not just your dinner.
Lasagna.
You know, I doubled down and was like, lasagna with breadsticks? He's like, no, like, do you want a thing, like some stuff? And I was like, no. Like, if you're hell bent on doing something for me, make me dinner.
Oh.
Like, if you're listening to this, listeners of the podcast, do you want to send me a present?
Make me dinner.
Make me dinner. Send me a gift card to Olive Garden.
Oh my God.
Because when I'm there, I'm family.
I honestly haven't been to Olive Garden in so long.
You haven't been out to dinner in so long?
No, I went there. No, I haven't been to Olive Garden.
Oh, Olive Garden specifically.
Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking that. I think I went to Olive Garden the last time when I was a sophomore in high school going to prom.
Where you have to do like the quote fancy dinner.
Yeah, I think that's the last time I went to
Where you
Olive
show
Garden.
up to an Olive Garden in a full tuxedo and dress.
My dress was like white too. Like I looked like I was getting married.
Nothing like eating a bunch of red sauce spaghetti.
Oh my God.
A bunch of butter and just loading up on carb before you go slow dance to Stairway of Heaven.
Oh my God.
Stairway of Heaven. Stairway to
Heaven.
Heaven. Stairway of Heaven.
Oh, the Stairway of Heaven.
Tennessee
you heard
Baptist
of it?
Community cover of it. The Stairway of Heaven.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah, but I haven't been to an Olive Garden in a long time too. I used to live in Antioch, where there was an Olive Garden down the road from where I lived, and I think that the actual last time I went there was when I moved to Nashville in 2017. My dad helped me drive down to town and helped me move into my apartment, and I didn't have any food. And he's like, "Oh, let's just go to the Olive Garden across the street." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
That's so cute.
And he bought me dinner there, and then he just patted me on the back. He's like, "Well, have a good time in Nashville," and he just drove away. And I was like,
"Bye,
bye, Dad."
That's so sweet, though.
I had a great send off.
Yeah, that is pretty good. Are we getting a group together to go to Olive Garden?
I think that's what we're getting at. Like, let's
send
reserve
some texts.
a 30 top table of all of the tour stop fam and just go to an Olive Garden. You know, they
That's
have
hilarious.
unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks.
Oh my God. As soon as you said breadsticks, that's pretty much what I've been thinking about this entire time.
So here's a revolutionary idea.
Okay.
Well, let's have a restaurant where they have unlimited French fries.
And you have tour stop there every week.
Every day.
And then we all get unlimited fries.
Like, imagine, like, okay, so, you know my song, Don't Invite Me to Your Wedding, unless there's an open bar.
I've heard it.
So imagine you go to a restaurant and you pay the cover or whatever. You go to a bar, you pay the cover. In some restaurants, some bars, whatever you want to call them, that have live music, they have like the popcorn machine.
Yeah.
And you can just go scoop a little cup of popcorn. Imagine.
But it's fries.
French fries.
Right.
Yeah, sure, it's expensive, but imagine the hype.
Sure.
It's like,
we'll be closed within the week. But
have you been to this new place? There's unlimited French fries
for free.
It's like, are they good? And you're like, oh, but
they're kind of soggy.
It's like covers.
Dude, nothing's worse than a soggy fry to me.
I would smash some free French fries,
even if they were like floppy.
I've paid for sloppy French fries. That's a gross term. Sloppy French fries. So hear me out. How about
floppy, not sloppy? Oh. Sloppy French
fries. But then if you want to have like cheese or chili on them, there's your extra.
Right.
Yep.
All the toppings.
They've got that whole nacho cheese, you know, the Tostitos things that comes out. It's like the ketchup and the relish and the mustard dispensers.
Oh,
but then if you want cheese, there's your extra squirt.
Okay. Are you writing this down?
I'm pretty sure this is going to be my next business venture.
I think that's a pretty good idea.
I had an idea for a restaurant I thought specifically would do well in the Gulch, and it's called Smashedville. Or Mashedville, but it's
mashed potatoes.
It's a mashed potato bar.
Oh my God!
Where it's a DIY build your own mashed potato bowl, or you could also get like a baked potato.
What if you call it Mr. Potato, and all you serve is potatoes, but in every form.
There's fries, there's tots,
there's
waffles,
mashed potatoes,
there's shoestrings, there's mashed, there's baked.
You said waffle fries, yeah.
There's sweet potatoes.
Yeah, there's sweet potatoes.
Oh,
that's so smart.
I'm pretty sure that this is $1 billion idea. So if we see this pop up in the Gulch in the next few years, this was our idea.
Mr. Potato.
If you're going to the Mr. Potato Head bar, this is our idea.
No, you can't do Mr. Potato Head because then we'll get sued. Mr. Potatoes, probably.
I'm pretty sure that this is a great idea, though.
I think so.
I have a lot of business ideas that I think are stupid, but I have a couple that I'm like,
The baked potato.
The baked potato bar might be a hit. Because you know what people in Nashville love?
Yeah.
A gimmick.
That's true.
People love coming to Nashville.
I love a gimmick.
And they'll be like, oh yeah, I bought my cowgirl hat and my boots at Boot Barn.
That's true.
Like they had this sale
Boot
today.
Barn
They had
kinda
this sale
slaps.
today only 2-for-1 boots.
Hey,
It's like, oh, did you not know that the 2-for-1 today only boot sale is every day?
I have gotten a few dresses at Boot Barn, and
Have you really?
they kind of pop off
Was it the
sometimes.
Broadway?
No.
2nd Avenue?
No.
3rd Avenue?
No.
I feel like there's like 6 Boot Barns downtown.
It was like out of town. I was working for the radio station at the time, and we were working at Boot Barn, and I was like, I'm going to go shop. And I did.
Was this the radio station that spearheaded the song Joe?
No.
Different.
Well, that wasn't when I was working for.
Oh.
That was one that was in Indiana.
Ah.
That I was trying to play on.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Wait, you worked at a radio station?
Yeah.
I didn't know this about you.
I worked for country radio for like 5 years.
You were the gatekeeper?
Yeah. I worked in promo, so I did like events and concerts and social media and stuff.
That's cool.
It was super fun. It was a great job.
Where did you do that?
With Cumulus Media.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that after Belmont?
That was during Belmont,
Belmont
and after Belmont. I interned there my sophomore year and then got a job, and then I worked there for like 4 or 5 years after that.
That's a long time.
It was a very long time. It was a good job though. I learned a lot. It was like nice to work in the industry at the time.
Did you want to get into the radio industry, or was it just like a music adjacent job?
Yeah, it was just kind of like a music adjacent job, but I learned so much like just about radio, or like playing as an independent artist on radio. I learned a lot about that. I learned, I met a lot of artists that way, and I got just kind of like a peek into the behind the scenes that I hadn't really had before. And I also met a lot of hosts like of the radio
hosts,
shows,
like DJs.
yeah, who were extremely kind and super helpful and answered a lot of questions, and still support me to this day. So they're all great. But it was cool. I got to, and they also, would let me play on some of their shows and stuff sometimes, or do like interviews. Like I did some segments on like their morning show that they had. They had a segment called like 10-minute tune, where you'd write a song in like 10 minutes and then perform it on air. And it was one of the syndicated stations. So that was like all over the country.
That's
and
really
the first
cool.
time that I played it, my crush from like when I was 8 or 6, like my childhood first crush ever. He lives, I want to say, I don't know, I don't even know where he lives, but he moved away when I was little, and we're friends on Facebook, and he messaged me on Facebook, and he was like, I heard you on the radio this morning.
And you're like, suck it.
And I was
bitch.
like, is this?
I made it.
I was like, is this fame?
Is this what it's like to be famous?
Yeah, it was awesome.
I've had that moment where you're like, where you feel like you're famous, even if it's literally just with that like one person. But I was on a first date once with a girl from Bumble,
Oh my God.
Bumble or Hinge or something, and
Yeah.
I forget where we were, but I had 3 different people come up to me during the date.
Are you Aaron
and-
who runs tours?
Like it happened, and after the 3rd one, I had to look at the girl and be like, okay, so I know what this looks like.
So I planned this, and I paid them a lot of money.
it looks like I set this up to
Yeah.
make me look cool, and I promise that's not what happened.
That's
She goes,
so funny.
it does look a little like you just set yourself up to look cool. And I was like, I promise that's not what happened. And you know what happened after that? I never went out with her again.
So that tactic didn't work.
So it turns out I can't look cool. No,
Cross that off
was
the
one of
list.
that was one of those moments where it was like, okay. I feel
Yeah.
a little cool.
I know. I totally get that.
It wasn't like they were strangers. I knew who they were. It would be like you coming up to me.
Right. Just like
at a-
friends. Yeah.
Yeah, just a friend of mine. But to her, it looked like, this guy's trying to be like, oh, Mr. Cocky Ego Dude. Like, oh, yeah, here he is. Everyone knows who you
I
are.
thought you were doing like an accent. I was like, what is this? Oh, Mr. Cocky.
Oh, you got the Mr. Cocky Ego Dude here. Use my bad New York accent. the last time the bad New York accent came up is actually on an episode I did with Sean.
Oh my God. Call back.
If you're listening to this is Sean Livingston's episode where we did the top 10 music videos of the 80s.
Yeah, great episode. Is that the one that got taken down?
It got taken down. Thank you, Spotify. But
so funny.
We drank so much on that episode.
I remember hearing about it.
I was super, super, super fun times, but I got locked into a bad New York accent, and I had to go.
Well, Paul was there too, right?
Yeah, I had to go in and
That's
cut
why.
I cut in so much, or I cut out so much of that episode already, and I'm honestly a little relieved it got taken down.
That's so funny.
It was so hard to edit sober.
Yeah.
Going and listening to me.
Chaos.
That's all it was. Just chaos. Just loud shouting.
Over one another.
Yeah. Oh my God. Sean and I, bless both of our hearts. We both love to talk.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
And we talked over each other a lot.
That's like the worst thing is when you're listening to a podcast and they're just like blah, 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 all over each other and you're like, okay, why am I?
And you don't hear any of the words.
Right.
I've gone through and micro edited the podcast before where I catch myself or the guest, one of us talking over the other. And I'll just go through and be like, and you don't get to say that anymore. Yeah, I've
that was a nice thought that you never had.
I mean, all of these podcasts are totally unedited.
You like comp it, like vocals.
I try to leave them as like flowy and unedited as possible, but every now and then, like, there'll just be a super long, awkward silence.
Shit happens.
You have to like tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah. Like this
that.
one. Wait, let's see how long we can go without talking.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's take a quick commercial break right here on the podcast, and we'll come back with more from Becca Tremmel on the Nashville Tour Stop. And we're back with the homeschool girl herself, Miss Becca Tremmel, right me. Here on the pod. Belka.
You almost just kicked Phyllis in the face.
This is a little more unhinged than the usual ones because so many of the first times I have people on the podcast, I have to do the very...
Yeah.
Like, tell me about your upbringing in music. And this time we're just like, let's talk about the dog.
Tell me about your childhood trauma.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
So, like, you just probably listening, you probably just heard Phyllis shake her collar right there. So, Becca.
Yes.
Tell me about your childhood trauma.
Well, it all started when...
You're like, where do we begin?
Yeah, the beginning.
It's like, how far back do you want me to go?
Birth.
It's like, do you just want to do, like adolescence, like 1st through 6th grade? Or do you want to start getting into like middle school trauma where I started getting bullied?
We're going to have to separate it on different podcasts. Like, it'll have to be a series. Like,
this will be an episode per grade.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I was homeschooled.
Phyllis, what are you doing?
Those grades.
She is acting up right now.
Honestly, trauma only started when I went to public school.
So
it's a weird trend, isn't it?
Yeah. So we just teased. You did go to homeschool.
I went to homeschool. Correct.
You went to homeschool.
Yeah.
But how
my
long
living
were you
room.
Homeschooled?
I was homeschooled my entire elementary school.
So until
7th
grade?
7th grade.
7th grade.
Yeah.
So you started 8th grade public school?
I started 7th grade public school.
Okay. So what was your first experience like in a public school?
So in Utah, I don't know, because it's different in Tennessee, because I teach kids here, and they go into middle school in 6th grade.
Okay.
But I didn't go into middle school until 7th grade. So when I started, it was the first day of middle school, and I honestly wish I had been homeschooled through middle school, but I was so excited. Like, I was just, my whole life I had been watching movies and shows about high school, and I didn't have like a lot of friends because I lived on the mountain where I grew up. And so the only friends I really had were like on my swim team. But even then, like I couldn't spend time with them because I lived a half hour away up a canyon. So I just didn't really have that many friends, and I really loved like just like watching shows, and I was like, oh my gosh, like imagine what it's like to go to school or have recess.
So what you're saying is you imagined what it was like to have friends.
Yeah, I did. And I was like, because all I really had was my brother and my sister and my family and our animals, but which was amazing. But I was like, what's it like to, I don't know, just go to someone's house?
How do I socialize?
Yeah, or just like have a sleepover. Or
did your not your middle school, did your homeschool program not have like homeschool get-togethers?
No, because we were on a mountain.
Yeah, I cannot stress it enough.
My mom,
I was on a mountain.
Well, my mom and my dad were not working at the time. So my dad like took a break from his job for a few years, and my mom was staying at home, and she was our teacher. She like did everything. She had like a homeschool teacher like card thing that let us get a bunch of books and curriculum. Utah.
Sundance, Utah. Just for those of the listeners who skipped episodes.
So there were like a couple kids on the mountain that we would hang out with, but they kind of left, or they were there like seasonally, you know? Not a lot of people lived there full time. A couple people did. But not really a lot of kids. And like, even I was like, what's trick-or-treating like? I couldn't trick-or-treat because I didn't live in a neighborhood, and it was always snowing on Halloween. So like one of the houses on the mountain was like, oh, bring all the mountain kids to our house, and we'll like have the parents go behind doors in the house. And that's how we trick-or-treated until I was like 15.
So I know we didn't originally,
which was amazing.
Let's talk about trauma, but here it is.
No, but it wasn't. It was like it's great though. Like it was amazing, and I got to experience a lot of other amazing things. Like my family is super close. We went on road trips all the time. I saw so many national parks. I've been to every state besides Hawaii and Alaska.
Really?
Like, yeah, and we only were homeschooled like a couple hours a day. We would start at like 9 and finish at noon. And then the rest of the day, I would have like music lessons or horseback riding lessons or swim team. Like I was able to figure out what I wanted to do from a very early age because I wasn't in school all day, you know?
I do think about that because when I was in private school growing up, there were a bunch of classes that I'll be brief, but I don't use that knowledge ever.
Right.
You know? But it's like, what I appreciate the, late 90s, early 2000s computer classes I had. Yeah. It's like Mavis Beacon teaches typing. Like that was relevant information. Mm-hmm. I was like, I really wish that I didn't have to take like art class because I was never ever good at painting or I got a C- on a 10-point grayscale ruler.
Oh my God.
Like my art teacher was like, do you really just not see how much darker this one is than this one or how much lighter this is? And I was like, no. Like I was bad at it.
That's okay.
And I was like, I wish that I hadn't had to devote that much time to something that I didn't care about. When like I obviously even as a kid I cared about like music class and stuff like that. I wish that I had the foresight or the school had the foresight to be like, this doesn't seem to be a strength of this child.
Right.
Let's put them into something that maybe they can do.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like I'll probably, if I have kids or something one day, like I would love to homeschool them because I feel like it really helped me, like I said, just like figure out what I liked and I wasn't wasting time in other areas, like, cause I wasn't behind at all when I went into actual school. I wasn't behind at all. But I was only doing actual school for like 2 or 3 hours a day.
Yeah, you don't need to spend an hour a day learning calculus, which so many kids in high school do. And then you graduate your senior year and you're like, well, that was useless.
Yeah.
Just wasted a bunch of my time doing that.
For sure. And I feel like the other thing that I just didn't know really how to deal with when I went into school was I was experiencing, I guess, like drama for the first time. but also just like people being mean to me or like girls being mean to me for really no reason, which I didn't understand. I was like, you don't even know me. You don't even.
It's like, why would you say that? You
I'm
literally
like,
don't know anything about
exactly.
me.
I was just like, why? I didn't get it. I was just like, why? What is the deal? Like, I didn't understand why people were just rude for no reason. I didn't get the whole public school hierarchy situation. But, and I could have gone without that, honestly.
Ninth grade was that experience for me because I did 1st through 8th grade at private Christian school, and ninth grade was my like expose and kids being mean, and it was the first time I'd ever been bullied.
Yeah,
and
it's
there was
horrible.
this one kid, I forget his name, but he bullied me so hard in my 5th hour physics class, and I got one zinger on him one time. And
for you.
It's because he had gotten held back, and he had to do 9th grade 3 times.
Oh my God.
And I heard about that, and he was making fun of me one day. Oh, you don't get it? And I was like, well, you obviously don't get it because you've taken this class 3 times. And he took my head and just smashed it right down into the desk.
Oh my God.
And I earned that black eye, but I was like, you know what?
God.
I feel good right now.
Kids are so mean.
Yeah. And I was like,
it's so crazy.
Like the first day of 9th grade, I took a gym class. It was like my 2nd or 3rd period of the day. I took a gym class, and I made a tie-dye shirt. Like, it was just a shirt that I had, and I wore it to gym, and the entire year they called me tie-dye. Like, that was my
tie-dye guy.
I never, like, after the first day of gym class, I brought a different shirt.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was like, why are these kids being mean to me over what I'm wearing? Because at private school, we had to wear the same uniform every day. Yeah. And I understand why private schools do that now. Yeah. It's like, oh, we're all the same. Right. We're all taking the same classes. We all wear the same clothes. We all believe the same thing. Black and white, black and white, black and white. Right. And then as soon as I had the non-metaphorical tie-dye. Yeah. I was just like, I don't like this.
This is too much. Yeah. No, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy how formative those years are, but like how many mistakes you make. Like I didn't know how to do makeup, but like I still wore makeup to school, you know, but I'm sure it didn't look good. Right. Or I straightened my hair every single day. That for was the look back years, then. Like slick, straight, and I
can't imagine you with flat iron hair.
I know. I used to do it every day, and it was terrible for my hair. And then I didn't wake up early enough one day, and I had curly hair at school, and people were like,
"What happened?
Is this your hair?" Look, and I was like, "Yeah," and I was so embarrassed. But then people were like, "No, it's really good. It's cute. It's cute." But because I had been straightening it every day, the only part that was curly was like the lower layers, and the top layers were like straight. Wow. Because I had been putting heat on my hair for so long. And then I was like, okay, well, I just started wearing, now I never straighten my hair. From that day, I was like, I'm not straightening my hair anymore. And I don't.
I don't think I've ever seen you with straight hair.
Yes, you have. Every time I wear it, and then people don't recognize me. And it also looks a lot blonder when it's straight.
Okay. It is kind of a dirty blonde brown.
We call her straight hair Becca. We've joked about this before.
Oh, did we really?
Yeah.
Straight hair Becca.
Yeah. Because everybody's like, and then they double take and they're like, oh my God.
So you know Sam Costigan, right? Yeah. So for those of you listening who don't know, Sam Costigan's another Nashville songwriter here in town. Kind of adjacently related to Tour Stop. She's played our shows several times.
Yeah, but, she's great.
Every time she plays Tour Stop, I call her Sam Costigan, best hair in Nashville.
She has great hair.
Her hair is spectacular.
It really is, yeah.
But she came up to me the other day and said, you know, Aaron, like, you always call me Sam Costigan, best hair in Nashville. And at first I thought you were just being annoying. And then she's like, but you kept doing it. And I was like, oh, maybe he actually thinks that I have good hair. And she got so stickers of her hair, like the cutout of her hairdo. And she's like, the only reason I got these is because you said that I had the best hair. Yeah. And I was like, I love that.
She really does. It's like a big part of, like, when I think of her, I think of her hair. Yeah, hair. For sure.
And I guess I don't want to blow myself up too much, but it's a good example.
I don't want to.
It's like, here, flirt.
Yeah.
Why, if you're just nice to somebody,
yeah,
like it makes them feel good.
Well, I feel like a lot of people don't really realize like what their best attributes are too, you know. But like if they're pointed out to them, then you know. That's the only way you know.
What are my best attributes, Becca? I love that you're
I'm like thinking.
I don't know.
You're funny.
You don't have to answer that. Please don't answer that on.
You write funny songs.
That's a personality trait?
Yeah.
Is that an attribute?
Your sense of humor is a personality trait.
What do you like most about me physically? Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
You have dimples.
My dimples?
Yeah.
I have dimples?
Yeah. I can see it.
I didn't know I had dimples.
Yeah.
You have dimples too.
Not really.
I can see them right now.
I think we only have dimples in this room.
Okay, so are we learning both live on the air that each of us have dimples we didn't know about?
I guess so.
I guess so.
Have
you ever heard of back dimples?
Ew.
Ew is right. It's like, who is smiling
sounds
with
like
their
something
back?
I don't want. Yeah. That's okay.
Well, Becca, you said you've been working on some stuff. What's going on in the Becca Tremmel world these days? Because I know we just talked about like having the conversation of like, what's going on with you, personally.
Yeah. Right.
I do want to hear the professional stuff though. What's going on in the artist career? You're going on a tour soon, aren't you?
Yeah. So Sean and I are going on a tour in October.
We should say his full name. We haven't said his full
Lon
name.
Shivingston. And I.
You're dating an NBA player.
Yes, I am. It's been great. He's so tall. No. So we're going on a tour in October. It's going to be great. We're kind of going like across the country to Utah, where I'm from. We're starting in Cleveland, where he's from, and playing a show there. We're doing some stuff with his family. We're going to Cedar Point for Halloween.
Yeah.
And then we're going up to Chicago to play a show on a Sunday, I want to say. And that, I forget what area it's in. Is it Highland Park? Something Park. It's a super cute area. And then we are going to St. Louis.
Cool. Chicago,
Missouri.
St. Louis, Kansas City, Utah.
Yes, Kansas City, Utah. Back to Kansas,
Ohio?
Denver.
Denver?
Yeah.
Is that
all over
that's
the
where
place.
Emery lived for a little while, right?
Correct.
That's cool.
That's where she's from.
Really?
Yeah. You
Look at
didn't
me
know
learning
that?
things about my friends.
You
kidding.
didn't
I
know
totally
that?
know she's from Denver.
It's like she
she-
literally says it every time she plays. That's crazy.
It's like, no, I remember when she moved away back to Denver, I was so sad.
Yeah, I was devastated.
And then we guilted her into moving back.
Oh, yeah. I did that. Every time she came and visited, I was like, when are you moving back? Until she would cry.
It's kind of how I feel. So a good friend of mine named Paul Ivy just moved to Iowa.
I miss him so much.
I know. I miss him so much too. Good friend of mine is on the podcast once
so sweet.
about a year and a half ago, but he just moved to Iowa, and I'm not trying to guilt him into moving back.
Already.
But I called him the other day, and I was just like, man, I miss you so much. And I know I got him.
Yeah. He's so
Paul,
sweet.
if you're listening to this, he's not listening to this.
Yeah, no.
But it is hard when your best friends move away.
It's so hard, especially like with Emery. We went from being on a cruise ship together, literally spending every single waking and sleeping moment together, to living together during the pandemic.
We've talked with you about it, and about it. I just heard my own accent. Yikers.
All right.
We've talked with you about it, and we've talked with Emery about it. You did the Carnival Cruise Line, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things Emery and I talked about that we didn't get a chance to talk about that I'd love to ask you, is that something you would do again?
Yes.
And Emery's answer was yes, but she wasn't thinking that she would want to do one of those super long
I'm the same way.
again.
We talk about this all the time, her and I. We kind of want to do like the fill-in couple week long situation, because the 4-month contract that we did, our first one, was so long. And she might have said this, but like the first day we got there, we weren't even put in the same cabin. So
yikes.
We get to this cruise ship. I've never been on a cruise ship in my life. And we were filling out all this paperwork. We also didn't know where to eat the entire first day. We didn't eat for like 14 hours.
Yikes.
And because we didn't know anything. We were literally put to work immediately when we got there. And
here's your stateroom key. Here's the stage. Please plug in.
Exactly. And we didn't know anything. We got in trouble the first day. Like, it was crazy. And then we had to go back to our own rooms, and we weren't even together because it was like a risky thing to put two new people on a cruise ship together in the same room because we didn't know any of the procedures if we were going down. So, right. But the first day we both got there and we were like, we have made a terrible mistake. We were like, this is not good. And also the first month was amazing, but it was also really hard. Like, you feel so disconnected from everybody back home. Like, I felt disconnected from my family. I was having situations back home with friends happening, and I couldn't talk to them about it because I only had service occasionally. I had a boyfriend, and that was really hard. It was all super hard. But we were in Mexico every 3 days, and that was amazing. And the experiences we had, the people we met, incredible. Just playing music for 4 hours every day for people, that's incredible. And exactly. We were full-time musicians, and we were also really honing in our craft and working with each other and learning that because we had never really played together before that. We were we're a duo, but we didn't. Right. We never played together besides
Didn't you
rounds
lie
and stuff.
About
we did.
You knew
we
300 songs.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just it was amazing. And I always tell people the highs were really high and the lows were really low. And I would definitely do it again, but the 4 months was tough. We were gone for Thanksgiving. We were gone for Christmas. We were there for New Year's. We were gone for my birthday. All of fall. It was summer. It was summer forever, which was cool. But I just missed being able to wake up and walk somewhere to go get breakfast or coffee or to just walk on land or to just, I don't know, you also are at work 24/7. So we had to act a certain way all the time, behave a certain way all the time. We always had to have our name tags on. And it was, you never leave work, basically. Right. Even when you're at crew bar, even when you're doing whatever, you're still
You have to identify yourself that I am
because you represent Carnival. Or we would be off the ship in different, places. And we had to, be mindful of the way we acted, we behaved and stuff, and which is fair. But at the same time, you do that for 4 months. It's anxiety.
It's living in a
lot of anxiety.
A box of anxiety of if I do one thing wrong, it could ruin everything for myself and potentially for this other person.
Well, Emery and I's job depended on each other. Yeah. So if I fucked up, then she would get fired too.
Right.
They can't fire just one of us. So and also we're living with another person in a closet basically, and
you're not getting the luxurious exterior, balcony.
The balcony with we didn't even get a porthole. I wanted a porthole so bad.
Yep. You're living in one of those 150 square foot rooms where you don't even have a desk.
Tiny. We did have a desk.
You did? You had one desk?
We had a desk and a little mini fridge. And then we hung up a bunch of streamers and pictures of Taylor Swift. And we called that our party corner. Nice. And I could touch the party corner from my bed. And it was amazing. And I met so many people. You get really close to people very fast because you're going to wonders of the world with them, and you're on a ship where you see them.
Level of codependency with people because you're with, for example, Emery, you two were together probably nonstop for 4 straight months.
Yeah.
And then it was probably a precursor to COVID when you're just stuck with someone.
Yeah.
And I need to not be with you for a while.
But we didn't really feel that way. There was no time. I don't know. We would have little tiffs and whatever as you do with people, but Emery and I think we're just extra respectful and understanding of each other.
It's good.
Like she went through shit on the ship. I went through shit on the ship. And it was just kind of like we needed to give each other grace all the time. You know, you can't expect somebody to be at their best, like constantly, especially when we're living in a box. You know, you just have to like be extra understanding. And you like, perfect example of this. I hate the smell of lavender. It is my least favorite smell in the entire world.
Great. It's not that good.
It makes me nauseous. Like I hate it. I've always hated it. And
Emery loves it.
It's Emery's favorite smell in the entire world. She loves it. It's like everything to her. And in our room, in our box of a room, she had everything. Everything was scented lavender. Everything was scented lavender. And it made her so happy. And she just made sure it smelled good all the time, but it smelled like lavender all the time. Everything she had. And and I never said anything. Because she was going through a hard time. I had just gone through a hard time and she was really nice to me about it. And I was like, you know, she's going through a hard time. And we went to one of our friends' cabins to do like a face mask night. And the friend was like, oh, do you want this mask that's like mint or this mask that's like lavender? And I was like, I don't want lavender. I don't like lavender. I hate it. And Emery was like I didn't think that she heard it, but she was like, you don't like lavender? And I was like, no. And she was like, everything in our room is lavender. And I was like, yes. I know. And she was like,
this is me respecting.
She was horrified. She was like, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, because it makes you happy. Like,
that's
it was
one of those formidable moments of a friendship where you're like, you realize the other person loves you more than they hate the smell
exactly.
of lavender.
And like, that's just the kind of like, we had to be so over the top understanding of where we were at, and like just extra respectful.
Extra over communicative about everything.
Exactly. Or just like understanding like, okay, Emery had like a lot of like bigger like clothes, like she loves coats and stuff, and so like she would take up more space than like I would in certain, but it's just like, that's fine, you know. Like, because I don't love coats, so right. You know what I mean? Just like whatever like made her happy, and she felt the same way about me. Like whatever made me happy, it was just like, yeah, because finding those little moments of like home and happiness and peace was super important on the ship.
Because I can imagine the disconnect, like even if you don't have cell service, like did you have to pay for internet service?
Yeah, we had to pay. So for normal internet, I think it was $10 for like 90 minutes of internet.
That's crazy.
But if you were just using Messenger, so if you just wanted to like send text or send Instagram messages or like use Facebook or something, it was $4 a day.
Okay. But
that's $4 every 24 hours for 4 months.
Yikes.
That's a lot of money.
That's a ton of money.
And so you didn't.
What is that? Yeah. Like $500 or something? $600?
So when Emery was like single on the ship, like she was like, oh, I don't have to like pay to use the internet every day. But like I had to pay to use the internet every day. And like it's hard because you want to talk to people back here, you know? And
you want to
feel connected to them. Home. Exactly. So, but then it was like, but then also what if you spend $4 on the internet and then you're gone most of the day off the ship and you just like waste that money, you know, because it's timed.
Right. So I bet did you ever have days off when you were ported where you could spend time like in Mexico at a restaurant or something that might have free Wi-Fi?
Yes. Yeah. That was the first place we went.
You're like, let's go to the Starbucks inside of a Target here.
But my service wouldn't let me talk to people on the phone unless I was in the United States. So every 4 or 5 days I could make calls, but I didn't want to do that the entire time, you know? So we would go to a coffee shop and we would get on the internet, do our things, make our calls, go to Target. We had to get not groceries, but like toiletries and stuff. Yeah, it was just like we're back in the States. Let's do all of our shit. But we didn't have a car. Also, so we're Ubering around.
I was in Mexico not too long ago, and I have AT&T, and I bought the international AT&T plan, and it was like $30 for a month. And I feel like now, if I ever did something like this, that would be what I would want to do. Is just because you may not have service in the middle of the ocean,
right?
But at least if I'm in Mexico, if I'm there ported for 12 hours or something, or 8 hours, I can still just sit and just dick around on my phone.
Right.
Oh, this is something to do. Wow. It's it's at least it's just something to do.
That's hilarious.
Well, Becca, we've talked about a bunch of stuff. Since your last episode, I do have one other question.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any places in town that, unrelated to the music industry, are there places in town lately that you have enjoyed going that you would recommend to people who are either listening and live here, or are considering moving here, or just visiting, that you would be go do this or go eat here?
Every single time I talk to a tourist or somebody who hasn't been here yet, I tell them to go to the Johnny Cash Museum.
The Johnny Cash Museum.
It's the greatest museum I've ever been to in my whole life.
I have never been there.
It's amazing. I
cry
like a bitch every time I go there. It's so powerful. It's so amazing. It's small, but you could spend hours in there. It's so well done. It's beautiful. It's so good.
That's downtown on 3rd Avenue, right off of Broadway.
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. Right above is the Patsy Cline Museum. But I went to the Johnny Cash Museum right after it opened, and they have letters between him and June, and him and his first wife, obviously, when he was at war, just really personal things. It takes you through his whole story,
his
whole life, and then it ends in a really great way, and I won't spoil it for you because it feels like a movie, but it's super powerful. That's cool. I didn't even love him at the time. You know what I mean? I was it's Johnny Cash, of course, he's great, but I wasn't Johnny Cash. And it's still it's very moving.
Interesting. So check out the Johnny Cash Museum.
Yeah.
Did you see the cover I put on my Instagram? So if you're listening and you don't follow my personal Instagram,
I did see that.
I did a parody video of Johnny Cash singing Barbie Girl.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to start just a video series called Johnny Cash Sings ... And I think it'd be really funny to do impressions of Johnny Cash singing other popular songs.
That's a good idea.
Or could you imagine me as Johnny Cash singing Relapse Bop version?
Oh my God, that would be so funny, and you should
Relapse,
absolutely do that.
Cash version.
You should do that as a series where you cover different people.
Cover my friends' music.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You'll always be my first love. Brandon Ellis.
Or boop bop boop bop boop bop. Magic.
I'm not your mistress.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I love
Becca,
that.
Thank you for coming back on the pod.
Thanks for having me.
Can you give us your plugs? Wait, hold on before your plugs.
Before the plugs.
We didn't talk directly about it, and I want to talk about one more thing.
Okay.
Talk about Little Lion pet portraits. Portrait pets.
Okay. So I started a little side hustle a few months ago where I'm painting different portraits of my friends' pets. So they're really fun. I really enjoy it. Basically what happened was I was in Minnesota for about a month this summer, and I was watching my sister's animals. She has 3 pets. And while she was gone, I was like, I'm going to paint her animals and make it really cute. And I painted all 3 of them. And she was like, oh my gosh, these are great. You should do this as a little business. And I was like, I don't think anybody would pay me to paint anything because I'm not good. And
as it turns out.
And so I started doing it. And I've got a bunch of awesome people who have reached out to ask for portraits and stuff, and it's been amazing. And it's funny because usually I don't even know the animal, and then I'll meet the animal upon giving the portrait to the person. I met Phyllis today, and I gave Phyllis her pet portrait.
Phyllis.
Yeah,
I'll post a photo of your your painting with
I'm
the
really proud of this
podcast
one. Yeah. It's cute. But yeah, if you're interested in having your pet painted,
if you're
let
interested
me
in
know.
having your pet painted, Becca, what is the Instagram for it?
It's at Little Lion Pet Portraits.
Little Lion
But
Pet
it's
Portraits.
also just really cute to follow along because I post pictures of all the ones I do and the inspo photos of the animals. So it's cute. It's cute and fun.
Well, thank you for painting me a portrait of Phyllis the dog.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I've made more money on pet portraits than I ever have in music. So
That is a harsh reality. Harsh reality.
but you know what? That's fine. I love it.
Well, Becca, can you give us your plugs on where we can find your music, your socials?
At Little Lion Becca on everything. I should be releasing something in the next few months, so look for that. It has to do with cowboys and maybe a man named Joe. And yeah, at Little Lion Becca on Facebook, Becca Tremmel. But yeah.
At Little Lion Becca.
Correct. On everything, basically.
On everything, surprisingly.
Yeah. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.
And that's one of those things that I've talked about with a lot of people is like, what should my Instagram handle be? And it's like, it doesn't fucking matter.
But you say it should be...
Make it consistent.
Consistent, but like the name of the artist. But like my artist name is not Little Lion Becca, but I think it's fun and I don't care.
I mean, Ed Sheeran's Instagram is Teddy's Photos.
That's true.
Like it doesn't...
Casey Musgraves is Spacey Casey.
Spacey Casey. It doesn't have to be like just at Casey Musgraves. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The true fans know.
So true.
Well, if you'd like to follow Phyllis, you can check her out at Phyllis the Wiener on Instagram.
I'm about to follow her right now.
Follow Becca Tremmel at Little Lion Becca and Little Lion Pet Portraits on Instagram. If you'd like to check out Becca's tour schedule with Sean Livingston, you can do so at beccatremmel.com. You can follow us on your social media platforms at Nashville Tour Stop. And if you'd like to check out our complete live event calendar, you can find us at NashvilleTourStop.com. Becca, welcome back to the pod. Thanks you for having been part of now 2 episodes, I believe.
I'm trying to go for like 10. So.
And thank you for having played like 50 Nashville Tour Stop shows.
50?
Maybe more.
Maybe more.
Well, Becca, thank you for being here. Y'all, thank you for listening this week. We will be back next week with episode number 98. We're closing in on the Centennial podcast.
Oh, my God.
We're going to be having a 3-part episode for the 100th episode.
That's amazing.
We're going to have Mike Dunbar, our original co-host. We're going to have Aaron Cooper, our second co-host. And we're going to have a 3rd part with a bunch of our fans, fams, and friends' favorite memories, along with a few of my favorite memories over the years. That'll be episode number 100 coming up here in the month of October. But until next time, please do remember that all roads lead right back here.
To the Nashville Tour Stop. Yeehaw, motherfucker.